don't be confused if you're a regular, because you can see the old Helios in the background. I have some explaining to do. So, the white Helios, Ace has come to me and said, we've got loads of white bits, including a white Helios, would you like to build it? And I was like, yeah, send it all over and I'll chuck it in and I'll have a little bit of a play with it at the same time. But the board they sent was Z490, which is great, but what I now want to do is build one for me. So this has nothing to do with them. We're going to be using parts that have been here already, and it's pretty much based on the fact that I do have a custom build coming, which is just on the other side, white SL600, custom water cooled, all of that sort of stuff, and also lots of cores from Threadripper. So don't worry about the fact that we're going Intel again. Effectively, what I'm doing is I'm just going to build myself a rig which I've historically called Interim. So I need an Interim rig now to put on my desk because I'm currently running a 5960X on an X99 board, or is it a 6950X? I can't remember. It's literally been ages and it's on my desk and I've been using it for a good amount of years. So I need something just to get me through this next busy period, because we've got through the motherboards. We're now just to hit GPU mentalism time. So I know I'm going to have a lot of videos to edit. I know I'm going to have some fairly hefty edits to do because of putting video footage for games side by side and all that sort of stuff. So I thought it was time to have a little bit of an update. So I'm going to keep the Helios because it does cool well and I actually do like the way it looks. I also like the way it cools quite quietly as well, and it does do very well in the way that I do my thermal tests, which you can go and have a look at. But I'm going to make some slight changes to the way they sent it. So I'm going to go back to the X299 edition 30, which is basically a posh deluxe board, and then the 10980XE, which does do very well with Vegas renders in the timing once you give it a little bit of a clock. And that's based purely on the data that I've reviewed and done and published in the past. But anyway, so that's why I'm going with that. It's then going to have the white Corsair Dominator Platinum that is in there at the moment, but we'll have 2 sticks either side. Going to stick with the same GPU. I'm actually more than likely going to put an Elgato behind at the back because this does have 5GB Ethernet, and that will do fine until I move on to the next rig and I'll go back up to 10GB. I'm not going to be moving too much to the server, so I can put up with a little bit of downtime in the meantime. I am actually going to pull out an old limited edition, or special edition I should say, RM1000i power supply, and it's number 35 of 100. This was when they did a few little, well, they did 100 of these limited edition ones with a light up fan. They did actually come with different cables, but these are custom cables from Cable Mod. So I'm going to pull this back out because I actually love it, and I'm going to annoy everyone because I have the fan pointing up so that you can see the lights through the power supply grill. And then I'm also going to use a custom white Corsair H150i that they sent me recently. I asked for this, well, I asked if they were going to do one at CES, and then this turned up. When I did make the video of it, I'll put the links to all these videos underneath. It turned up without a white top, but there was a white top in the box. So that's why you now see it with the white top, but all of that is there. So lots of white stuff. I'm not going to bore you too much with the strip down. Maybe spend a little bit more time on the build up. And I'm going to be doing this over a few days because I've got a couple of case reviews and other stuff to do in between. It's currently 8:30 at night. I don't feel like I've had too much coffee today, and I've not had one since 2. But anyway, so we're now going to do the white ROG Helios TTL build.
Won't you say why you're a stranger now? Your eyes escaping mine when I sit you down. Don't you feel like we're holding on onto a fairy tale, but the magic's gone? Been months of bluffing the blushes and faking the butterflies. Wake up, yeah, I'm kicking the castle down. Ooh, yeah, I think it's time to talk. Ooh, yeah, I think it's time to to notice we've been losing touch. Long gone fairy tale, yeah, we killed the rush. Been months of acting a fiction and staging a Valentine's. Wake up, yeah, I'm kicking the castle down.
We are now at the end, and I just want to point out some little highlights for you, because you've obviously seen me putting it all together, but just to give you the specs again, just so that you are aware. It's got the Asus X299 Deluxe Edition 30 motherboard. They didn't make very many of those, so I wanted to get that used again. We have done a build with it in the past and a review as well, but I thought it was a good excuse. Then we have the 10980XE, which I have used because it does do quite well in Vegas renders, which is what I use to make my videos, and that's what this is going to be for. Just to reiterate, there is going to be a Threadripper version coming in a bit, and that's obviously now going to have 3000 series graphics in it. Maybe the 3090, but things are all still very fluid at the moment, but it's nice to be able to say that. And it's also kind of weird to be able to say that is an RTX 2080 Ti, which doesn't seem that fast anymore, does it? Although we haven't got any actual review data, but after what they said yesterday about being able to buy a 3070 for the same, which will have roughly the same performance as the 2080 Ti, but for only $499, the market is going to be getting quite interesting. So this is horrifically out of date, which is kind of mad when you think about it. The power supply in the bottom, 35 of 100. I personally wanted to make sure that I got this used again, because I was very humbled to have been able to have got one in the first place. And it, design wise, it's just right up my street, and I love the fact it's got the quietness and the performance of the RM, but we've still got like the white lit up fan in there and everything, and it was because of the fact I like the power supply so much. This is the second system of my own that I've put it in, but I also put a little light in at the bottom so that we've got something to look at. Random things that I ended up doing were round the back. The OC3D logo is actually a back plate for a graphics card. It's made by Cable Mod, or they used to make them, and it was actually in the old black version of this as a genuine back plate on a graphics card as well. I just thought I'd get it used again because it actually helped cover up the 2.5-inch drive mounts around the back, and there was a 2.5-inch drive mount up on the cover for the 24-pin as well, or you can fit them there. So I put the solid state drive cover there. Now that solid state drive cover doesn't have a solid state drive behind it, it's just there for the OC3D logo. And then I did use the fact that I could set everything up separately to turn that red to make everything kind of match in, because you can see the OC3D logo's red, Corsair logo's red, and then the Prime logo on the far side is red as well, which means that we've got all of those main branding points in there all lit up nice and red, and then everything else is white, including, like I said, the 2080 Ti, which seems a bit out of date now, but it's on a Corsair riser cable. And then I've also got a riser cable for the Elgato on the back as well, because we've got an Elgato in there and the RTX 2080 Ti, both vertical in this case, because it's one of the few cases that you can actually get away with doing that. And then the other thing is, you may have noticed that the cabling round the back looks a little bit messy. And that's because it's the cables with the additional capacitors to line out or kind of help with the ripple from the power supply. And they do look really nice at the top, and I've used the Nanoxia cable braids as well as normal ones in between as well, just to kind of like try and keep everything as tidy as I possibly can do. But then it does get to the capacitors and it does look a bit messy. But in reality, I'm still kind of happy with it, because it's the longevity and the performance that I'm after, rather than just a showpiece with perfectly straight, perfect cables. And I would personally, and it was for me, I would personally have those capacitors there than not have them at all. If I was to do a version of this just to go to something like Computex or something like that low, I probably would not use them. But for home use, I'm going to put up with it. I did think about putting some extra lights in around the back as well, but I've decided against that, and I'm going to leave it subtle with the OC3D logo. I'm not putting the big cover back on it. It's only just going to have the window on it as a normal rig. And then in the front, I've turned the ROG logos on the front of the case red with the white fans behind by using the button on the top. So I've not connected the RGB cable up inside, again to try and save some cabling and some mess going on in there. And then the only other thing to really mention is the fact that the white H150 in the top is custom. It was something that Corsair sent me a little while ago and I love it, and that's why I wanted to use it in my own rig, because I'm not going to use it in bench systems. I wanted it on my desk. I wanted to be selfish about something for a change, and then to match up with the Dominator Platinum. And I think with the Dominator Platinum I might actually long term end up doing a weekend mod and painting the little fins underneath the LED heatsinks at the top red, just to get a bit more colour in there for me. But this is what I'm going to be rendering the videos for you on the 3000 series cards, and then eventually the new AMD cards as well. I think the next video I make you might be about the new test rig that I'm going to be testing those graphics cards on as well, because it's all new. We've retested everything. It's taken us a good few weeks. We have a new rig, we have completely new benchmarks, and we have gone through and retested a load of graphics cards for you as well. So it's all going to be up to date, all tested on the same system, and it's all going to be rather interesting. So let me know underneath if you made it to the end. Let me know underneath if you're interested in a new rig, because that's more than likely going to be the next thing that you're going to see from me. So please tune in again, and if you did make it to the end and you've not watched one of my videos before, maybe subscribe and hit the bell if you want to. But for now at least, this is the Asus ROG white rig done the TTL way. Out. Love you, sis.